Okay. This is a key formula. It's called slope-intercept form of linear functions. Do not mix it up with the slope formula of 2 points. That's m equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. This is slope-intercept form of a linear function. The m, the slope, goes in front of the x. It's a multiplier of the x. It's the coefficient. And then after the x comes plus b, and write that in green. Plus b. So what we have here is the m, the slope, and the b, the y-intercept. The m, the slope, and the b, the y-intercept. And this is the most efficient form for graphing a linear function. All right, so think back to what should have been question 3 and 4 on the quiz and what you did in homework. They told you a point that was on the line, and they told you the slope, and they said graph the line if you know a point and you know the slope. So we graphed the point, and from the point we used the slope to get a second point, and we knew where the line was, right? Did that on homework, and that's what 3 and 4 was supposed to be on the quiz. Well, in this case, instead of knowing a point on the line, we're going to know a specific point on the line, the y-intercept, right from the form of the equation. And therefore, we're able to graph it. We'll graph the y-intercept. We'll use the slope to get the second point. So here's the example. I know this is the y-intercept. If I had to write coordinates, it would have the coordinates of 0, -3. And it is graphed right there. And you can draw those arrows. And again, we've already done this second part. From that point, use your slope. So look at your m. So that top 5 tells you to do what? 5. Go up 5. So this is 5 up. So from here, go 5 up. 1, not to the number 5, 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 spaces up, correct? And the bottom 2 tells you to go which way? 2 to the right. So from there, go 2 to the right, and sure enough, don't we hit our point on the line? And we do. And we're able to graph our line without ever doing an XY chart. It's very efficient. It's a very important form of a linear function. So the y-intercept is clear. The slope is clear. We are ready to roll. So let's get a little practice here in reading slopes and y-intercepts, okay? So number 1, determine the slope. And again, that's the m value. And the y-intercept, I usually do y-int. You can write it out if you want. But again, remember, that's the b value, right? Okay, so it doesn't take a rocket scientist to say for A, the slope is? Slope is? 2/3. All right, I'm even color-coded for you, all right? Remember, the slope is the multiplier of the x when it's in the proper form. Is not this in proper form already? Right? The y is on the left, isolated. There's an equal sign. You got the x listed first, and then whatever number after that. So it's in proper form. The m is the multiplier of the x term. It's a 2/3. And the b is what? 1. If I wrote it as a full y-intercept, the coordinates would be 0, 1. Remember, the x-coordinate is always 0 of a y-intercept. So that's 2 different ways of saying the same thing, right? The second part. So if I asked you for B, you'd say 1. If I said, what are the coordinates of the y-intercept, you'd say 0, 1. Follow? Coordinate form, just B value form. Okay? All right, so pretty straightforward. All right, so look, we've already learned concepts of solving equations that should allow us to easily think what the value of m is here. So before I get you to say anything, think about that. Think about if we were solving this equation for x, and we already moved the 3, what we would do on our last step. And from that concept, that should help us to clearly see what the m is, I hope. Hope you can make that connection. So, on 3, tell me what you think the m is. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
1/3.
Okay, great. I heard a lot of 1/3. So that should be blue. 1/3. Haven't we been through this with equations? Isn't that the same as a 1x over 3? And by the way, if I wanted to, couldn't I have written the exact same thing this way? 1/3 and then the x. Isn't that the exact same function? So you say, Mr. Scarfy, I wouldn't have caught that. Well, I know, that's why I'm showing it to you. I'm trying to remind you of that concept. It's something we learned already. And it shouldn't be so foreign once we realize, oh yeah, that's a 1/3 multiplier. Divided by 3 is the same as multiplying by 1/3. All right, value of the b is -3. Therefore, coordinate form would be 0, -3, right? 0, -3. Okay. So, don't say anything yet. What about C? What about C? Think about it for a second. And m equals? Okay, I hear a lot of different stuff. So let's try one more time. A bunch of you are wrong. All right, on 3, give me the value of m. 1, 2, 3.
5/7.
Okay, so I clearly heard 5/7. I heard something else. What else did I hear? -2. So how many were my 5/7 people? And where are my -2 people? So which group is right? Because one group is right and one group is wrong. It's about 50-50. So let me ask you this. Are you just pulling numbers out of wherever? Some of you are. Or some of you saying, whatever comes after the equal sign, that's the m. Aren't some of you saying that? Is that what the m is? Whatever comes after the equal sign? It looks to me like whatever is multiplying times the x is the m value, is it not? Now let's go back and see if any of you want to convert. So let's go back and look at our example here. So on C, how many want to convert? Any conversions? What are you converting to? What are you going to? Yeah, hopefully you're all converting to -2. If we were to write this in proper form, it would look like this. Say, Mr. Scarfy, I would have never caught that. I know, that's why I'm showing it to you. All right, I'm making you aware. Yeah, you gotta look out for that. You gotta follow the pattern. The slope is the multiplier of the x variable. Therefore, the b is 5/7. You say, Mr. Scarfy, I thought the slope was always a fraction. No, remember, a -2 is a -2 over 1. So you say, I just blindly looked for a fraction. I know. I don't want you to blindly look for a fraction. You got to look for the multiplier of the x. That's the m value. And again, coordinate form 0, 5/7. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. And hopefully that'll avoid you some error. On your next quiz and on your test next week, we will definitely deal with, I'll give you a bunch of equations. I'll ask you the slope. I'll ask you the y-intercept. Really important. You got to know that hands down. And I got to tell you, of anything we do this year, there are more questions on achievement tests, ACT, SAT, and your final exam involving slope and y-intercept than anything else. It is priority numero uno in Algebra 1, slopes and y-intercepts. muy importante. All right, so focus on these. We'll come back to them often. You'll have it on every test the rest of your algebra career, asking you slopes and y-intercept values. Okay, it is really, really, really important. Okay, number 2. Put the following into slope-intercept form. Right, so SI is slope-intercept. I'm going to abbreviate. Then determine M and B. Look, my time is already fleeting, so I'm going to show you a couple shortcuts. Everybody look at A. Don't write anything yet. Do you agree I could do this, right? Yes, we've done that before. I can do the shortcut, divide both sides by 2, right? It is wiser in these to divide each term by 2. That would be the next step. Because why? You need a distinct M and a distinct B, and we have one now, don't we? So to simplify, this ends up 3/2 x minus 7/2. Now you can clearly say the M is 3/2. The B is negative 7/2, and I won't take the time to write the coordinate form. Okay? Does that make sense? All right, now look at B. Don't we have to solve this for y? Right? Let me go back. What are you after? You're after y equals mx plus b, right? The y's on the left, the equal sign, then the x variable, then the number. That's the form we want. We don't want standard form. We want slope-intercept form. So do you agree I'm going to move the 3x to the other side? Tell me how to move it. Just say it. Add a negative 3x to both sides, right? Add its opposite to both sides. We know how to do that. We still have a negative 2y equals, I'm going to put my x in front, negative 3x, and you agree the 6 is positive, right? Plus 6. And now how would I move the negative 2? Divide both sides by negative 2, and again, I'm going to do the better format and divide both terms by negative 2, right? It's like I'm dividing the side by negative 2. So hopefully you agree we get y isolated on the left. We now have a positive 3/2 x, don't we? If you were to graph this, what would you expect the line to do as you move left to right? Would you expect the line to go up or down? Up, right? Positive slopes go up to the right. And this is a negative 3. Agreed? Easy to read your M now? M is? B is? Negative 3. And again, if you were on coordinates, you would go 0, negative 3. So be aware, sometimes you got to put it in proper form. Once it's in this form, though, it's real easy to graph. All right, so number 3, graphing linear functions using y equals mx plus b. It's real simple. Plot the y-intercept. And again, I'm going to put parentheses the b first. Plot the y-intercept first. Okay. That's not hard to remember, but it's important. This next part is what will goof up a student or two. From the y-intercept. Some students go back to the origin, and from the origin use the slope. It's from that point, that y-intercept. So from the y-intercept, use the slope to plot the second point. And then, of course, finish it by drawing a line through the 2 points. And that's it. Finish it by drawing a line through the 2 points. Okay. It's not too bad. 3 things. We can do that. And the last one, draw a line through it. Come on, right? I mean, it doesn't even take any brain power for that one. Okay. So look at A. What would you do first? You got to do this first. This has to be first. I'm going to 0, negative 2, right? That's got to be the first point. your y-intercept. It's -2. Some people like to, on the side, do m equals this and b equals this. That's fine. Do that. But next, I'm going to take my slope. Look, I want that to be blue. I'm going to take my slope, right? The one on the top tells me to do what? 1 up. So from here, go 1 up. From the -2, go 1 up. And the bottom 2 says go 2 to the right, go 2 to the right. I'll do this one in red. Put your point, draw your line. There's your line. Pretty easy, especially if it's already in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Somebody raise your hand, tell me how to start B. What do you want me to do first on B? Ethan? So tell me what to do.
0, 5,
I agree. 0, 5 is the y-intercept. And again, to help you guys, I'm going to draw an arrow. I'm going to write first. All right, you got to do that y-intercept first. Somebody tell me how to get the second point. Kaylin?
Find the slope, and it's 1/3. It's -1/3, so
Oh.
go 1 down and 3 right.
I agree. I'm going 1 down and 3 to the right. That's my second point. And finish it off by drawing your line through those 2 points. And again, in case some of you missed it, the m was a -1/3. Down 1 to the right 3, right? A -1 means down 1, and a 3 means right 3. So I went down 1, I went to the right 3. Pretty simplistic. Not bad. What do you notice right away with C? Anybody notice anything? Talk to me. 2y, right? It's not in the right form yet, is it? All right, go ahead and put it in the right form. Using the shortcut, this one happens pretty easily, right? Put it in the right form. And then go ahead and plot it. Put it in the right form. Go ahead and plot it. Remember, we've been here with the whole number slope before. Did you go up 3? Did you go to the right one? Because remember, that 1's not shown, but we know it's got a 1 denominator. And our line is right about there, right? So I plotted the -4 first, the y-intercept. From that, I went up 3 to the right one. How many got that one correct? Okay, good. And some of you, I was probably too fast for you. And again, I apologize for going fast. Now you guys know when I'm always in a rush, this is why. I know things take time, and every time we lose time somewhere else, it's got to take away from what we're doing. Okay, if you look at this one, Algebra 1, we're about halfway in. We should be able to start speeding things up. A -5x on the left will be a what on the right? Positive 5x. So do you agree your next line can already be y equals 5x minus 6? Just be careful. And again, if your head can't handle that, do positive 5x on the left and positive 5x on the right. But again, how do we move it? By adding a positive 5x to both sides, so it'll be a positive 5x on the other side. What are we going to do with this negative? Well, technically, you're going to divide everything by -1, but the shortcut is change the sign of everything. Y goes from negative to positive, 5x goes from positive to negative, -6 goes from negative to positive, right? Go ahead and graph it. Y equals -5x plus 1. Plus 6, thank you. The brain. Sometimes we wonder what it does. All right, so hopefully you go positive 6 first. From your positive 6, go down 5 and to the right 1. 1, 2, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and to the right 1. By the way, sometimes some of you get goofed up. You're like here and you say 1. Well, you got to step 1 first. All right, from here to here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Somehow some of you people start here and say that's 1. No, that's 0. 1. All right, I know that seems crazy to some of you, that it's so obvious, but I'm just saying for a few of you, you goof up on that and don't make that mistake. Okay? All right, let's get in the last issue, some special cases. And this gets back to what was on the quiz already, horizontal lines and vertical lines. Horizontal lines and vertical lines. The vertical line is easier to see. If you had y equals 3, it's the exact same thing as y equals 0x plus 3. That's pretty simplistic. What kind of lines have a 0 slope, class? Horizontal. So these are horizontal lines through the coordinate, in this case, of y equal 3. The y-intercept, isn't it? So this thing is a horizontal line through y equals 3. You could plot the y-intercept, 3, and now go nothing up, and technically 1 right or 1 left. It's a horizontal line. Okay? Whenever it's y equals a horizontal line. If you had y equals 2, it'd be a horizontal line through 2. If you had y equals -4, it'd be a horizontal line through -4. If you had y equals 7/2, y equals 7/2, it would be a horizontal line through 7/2, which is more commonly known as 7/2 is, boy, you guys are really fractionally challenged, my soul. 3.5. You don't know 7/2 is 3.5. I can't help you. Look, you don't know 7/2 is 3.5. There's nothing I can do to help you. All right, I really can't. All right, through 3.5. All right, very interesting. Equations like x equal -4. These are a little bit trickier. These are tougher to understand. And for these, you just have to know that these are vertical lines. And the better way to figure these out is to simply graph it. So on this one, again, I need every point to have an x-coordinate of -4. Every point's got to have an x-coordinate of -4. And therefore, you see, this ends up being a vertical line. So if they asked you a slope of this, you can't read the m. There's no way to read the m. You have to know this is a vertical line, and therefore your slope is infinity or undefined for the uninformed. You have to know that, because there's no way to read the m of x equal -4, nor is there a way to read the b, because -4 is not the b, because it's not in slope-intercept form. It's not in y equals anything. And therefore, you got to look at your line again and say the y-intercept is, what is it? It is. This line has all the real numbers as its y-intercept. This thing crosses the y-intercept in every single possible number. Okay, how about 1? It's not crossing at 1. Okay, 1's out. 2, no. 3, no. 5, no. -1, no. -2/2, no. -0.7, no. -1,000,000, no. +1,000,000, no. Where is it crossing the y-axis? Nowhere. Therefore, what is the value of the y-intercept? Can I say 0? No, because 0 is the point 0. There is none. That's the only way you can say it. There's none. Doesn't exist. It is non-existent. All right, I'm out of time. You got your homework there. Pay attention to it. Very important topic.